from the Independent Women's Forum. Julie Gunlock is with us. Julie, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Appreciate you coming on the program. So, listen, we have not participated in a farmer's market yet. My next year, we have plans to actually sell at a farmer's market, and I would like to thank you, Julie, and all of the other taxpayers for subsidizing this opportunity here. U.S. Department of Agriculture will spend $52 million to support local and regional food systems like farmers markets and food hubs.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, to spur research on organic farming. So, yeah, and, this is one of these stories, that the New York Times, they just love these stories. And, of course, I have, I'll get into it in a few minutes, but obviously I have a problem with this. But the New York Times, offers this sort of helpful explanation that, the organic industry doesn't have these hubs, that the distribution systems right now are set up to favor big food industries and sort of large-scale farmers. Seems to miss the fact that this is that farmers markets are already being set up. They don't need government help. We don't need another government program. We don't need another grant program to help people go to farmers markets. Farmers markets, if there is a demand, they will be set up, and we see farmers markets being set up not just in sort of Tony, upper class white neighborhoods, but actually in poorer areas. There's been a long-standing farmers market in Washington, D.C., in one of the poorer neighborhoods, and they are quite common now. So I think it's kind of absurd that there is there is a government program. I mean, if anybody wants to doubt the Obama administration or the Congress's seriousness about cutting down on the debt, I mean, we are $17 trillion in debt, and they're spending things on. They're continuing to spend on programs like farmers markets. I mean, this should tell every American that we are doomed. We are never going to take care of this debt. I mean, the federal government cannot control itself. Congress cannot control its spending. The agencies cannot control its spending, especially when you have ridiculous programs like this being funded.
So the New York Times, you point out, wrote about this a couple of days ago, and I just want to quote here. The local food movement has been one of the fastest growing segments of the food business as consumers seek to know more about where, how, and by whom their food is grown. But local farmers still struggle to market their food. Distribution systems are intended to accommodate the needs of large-scale commercial farms and growers. But then they say in the very next paragraph, farmers markets are proliferating around the country,
Yes.
increasing 76%
Yes.
to 8,268 since 2008.
Yeah,
According to the Ag Department, but they have trouble marketing themselves.
Yes.
Well, good Lord,
I mean,
Julie, when did marketing farmers markets become the job of the federal government?
Right. I mean, so does every emerging business, okay? Every emerging business has trouble marketing themselves. It's so absurd. And frankly, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I just flatly do not believe farmers markets have trouble marketing themselves. I mean, if you want to be like the rich snob who eats farm fresh produce, I mean, everybody sort of aspires to this kind of diet. They have no trouble marketing themselves. People seek out farmers markets. They want to eat like people who shop at farmers markets. And so, first of all, I don't believe that. But again, even if they are, it's not the role of the federal government, particularly when we're so far in debt. And the other thing is what I was trying to also explain in the piece is, with every emerging market, and I actually concede it. I do think that right now distribution hubs and the food system is set up to benefit large-scale farmers and sort of big food producers. But that's why the organic industry then needs to develop its own distribution systems. And then I pointed out that, what a lot of people don't know, Monsanto is the big bad, is sort of the big evil company, the very representation of big food and big ag. They actually make about the same profits as Whole Foods. Okay, so Whole Foods is rolling in it, as are many other organic companies. So, if the organic industry is really concerned about this lack of distribution hubs, they should invest in this infrastructure and this logistical network, not the taxpayers. I have enough on my plate. I do not need to pay for Buffy's trip to the weekly farmers market to get heirloom tomatoes. It's insane.
Why do you hate me?
I don't. I love farmers. I do love farmers, but I don't think that people roads. I mean, what's next? Like road stand, or roadside stands. What are we going to start? Hey, I know. We should start a federal program to fund children's lemonade stands. I mean, I bet children are having trouble marketing their lemonade stands. Let's develop a program for that. I mean, it's life's tough. We can't have a government program for everything.
Nah, listen, I'm with you.
I know.
I really am. And this is, I mean, again, it's just silly. I know this is grant money. It's going to be distributed at the local level, but as you say, this what was it, $35 billion a year industry? Did I read that correct in the New York Times? That's the organic food business.
Yeah,
$35 billion with a B dollars a year.
This is not a small industry. This is not a small industry. What is hilarious is often you've got, big food like the creators of Doritos against organic food, right? Well, I got to tell you, so there's big bag processed food, and they're the ones, and then the organic food, they're just these little guys, and there's hardly any profit margin, and gosh, the organic industry is an enormous industry now, and it's growing, and you've got major food companies buying out, for instance, Annie's Organics, and starting their own line of organics. Walmart is getting into their organic business. I mean, frankly, this kind of, in some ways, like this is great if it lowers the cost of organic food and if it opens up more choices to consumers. But again, this is not an industry that's hurting or that needs government assistance. I also want to say the government is already really pretty entrenched in the free food business. I mean, we have WIC, we have which is the Women, Infant and Children program. We have an elderly nutrition program. We have Head Start. We have a summer food program, the school lunch program. We even have a food program for Indian reservations. We have emergency food assistant programs. We have child and adult care nutrition systems, so that's like child care and nursing homes. And of course we have the school lunch and breakfast programs. 47 million Americans are on food stamps. It's not like the government isn't in the business of helping people ascertain food. What I question is branching out to these areas that, frankly, it just seems crazy, but also they don't need the help. As you mentioned those statistics earlier, farmers markets are proliferating in the country. We do not need a government program and it's a $52 million program. Just think of there are other needs, or maybe we should return that to the Treasury. There's no need for these programs.
If I were better at math, Julie, I would actually do the per capita, per farmers market amount of money that each one is going to receive, because boy, it's going to be a lot. Anyway, I appreciate this, and I'm with you. I love farmers markets, but honestly, I've actually seen here in Virginia. There are a couple. There's a one called South of the James that's in the Richmond area. Charlottesville has a really big farmers market. Farmville has one, and it's growing, but it needs some work, to be quite honest with you. Not government grants. It just needs some work. But as you say, if you want help marketing, there are a lot of emerging businesses that could use this help. This is, I don't know. We could stay with this topic
we can go on about this, but again,
here, because it's just.
Yeah. No, I agree, but I think that people need to understand. I think this is one of these stories. I remember when we were talking about post offices and closures, and one person gets up at a community meeting and starts crying because she'll have to go an extra, 0.3 miles to the next post office down the road, and that's going to cause some sort of hardship. And I remember during that conversation, goodness, if they can't even close, these unnecessary post offices, what chance do we have to really make significant changes to real programs that are really going to help cut the debt? And so, when I see kind of these types of stories of government spending on just things that just I don't understand under what circumstances anyone would see this as a necessary government program, and yet it's being celebrated in the New York Times. Let's not forget the New York Times is the one that had that panel on the future of farming and failed to invite any farmers. So I'm not surprised that they're wrong on agriculture issues, but still, yet again. A case of, government going wild, government funding things that are unnecessary, and the Times, of course, reporting it like it's great news, and great news for the taxpayers.
Right. All right, listen, well, we've got you here. We've got a couple of minutes.
Sure.
Deborah Saunders, who writes the Token Conservative blog for the San Francisco Chronicle, I love that they call it that. She had a piece today. Governor Brown's been busy signing pieces of legislation. He signed a bill today banning single-use plastic bags. Julie?
Oh, boy. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Yep.
So no more single-use plastic bags. He says designate, I'm sorry, he doesn't say this, but she gives recommendations from TLC. Designate specific bags for meats and fish. Wash these bags regularly, preferably after each shopping trip, to get rid of bacteria. If you right,
yeah.
And so we're going to expect all of. Here's the.
This is what. Hold on. This is what's really good.
Let me just
go.
Go
ahead.
No, please. After you, ladies first.
Okay. This is what's really going to happen, right? They're going to say, designate different bags, and then the 15-year-old bag boy is going to shove everything into one bag: fish, meat, celery. Doritos, whatever, and then you're gonna get home. You're not gonna wash them. You're gonna stick them in your trunk, and they're gonna get hot, and they're gonna develop all this disgusting bacteria, and then someone's gonna get sick. And so California better brace itself for an outbreak of these foodborne illnesses, because let me tell you, those reusable bags are disgusting, and people do not wash them. So, look, God bless you, California. Good luck. You're already falling apart. This is just yet another way that things are going to really stink, literally, in California.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the logic of the nanny state here. People are not to be trusted. People cannot be trusted to make the most basic decisions in their lives. However, we're totally sure that everybody's going to wash their reusable grocery bags on a regular basis, right? These folks who are too stupid to own guns, they're too stupid to dress themselves, they're too stupid to pick out their own food. Yeah. But we know that they're going to follow this laundry regime down to the flipping letter.
Right. Well, what's so funny is and it's typical. It's nanny state stuff. They're here to protect you, and yet they've now passed a law that's actually going to increase illnesses in California. So great job there. Great job there, California.
Julie Gunlock with the Independent Women's Forum. Thank you again for coming on the show today. It's always good talking with you.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, you bet. We'll do this again soon. Julie Gunlock, you can find her online at the Independent Women's Forum, IWF.org.